Welcome back to Rough Restos. I'm Jordan, and you can never guess what we're going to be doing today. Working on the Range Rover. Typical. So, I not only like to fix my vehicles and upgrade, modify them, I'm also a sucker for maintaining them. So, especially preventative maintenance. And if you're working on a 80 grand car, which is quite expensive to fix, preventative maintenance is the best kind of maintenance. So, in my new 4.4 litre TDV8, it has the ZF8HP gearbox, which is a fantastic, smooth 8-speed automatic transmission. It's currently very smooth, but could be a bit smoother. It's done 192,000 miles, and I have no service history for it. So I don't know when it was last touched. So it's not currently broken, which is good. That's one up from the previous two Range Rovers I bought, where I had broken gearboxes in both. As you'll see in previous videos, I'm now pretty familiar with servicing and replacing Range Rover gearboxes. And I don't want to be replacing this gearbox. So, considering it's now, I've had it for a few weeks and it's not broken, which is better than a few days on my previous two, we're going to be servicing it. So, I know a lot of people mega flush their gearboxes, and I'm sure it's great. I personally don't have an opinion on it, but I have heard a lot of good things about it on the 8 speeds, and providing your gearbox isn't broken, it's not a bad thing to do at all. Like, I would quite happily do it on this one, but I'm cheap and I like to do things myself, and I don't have a mega flush machine. So all I can do is the typical service routine, which is what we're going to go through today. So, I've got 7 litres of the correct automatic transmission fluid, which is the green one. Now, with these ZF boxes, don't be tempted to chuck the typical old red fluid in, because it's not going to be in there. It could cause you further issues down the line. Don't be that cheap. Just put in what's meant to be put in. So it is a green ATF on the correct Land Rover spec. I'll put it in the description for the 8 HP, and it's a golden coloured fluid for the 6 HP in the earlier Range Rovers, and obviously other earlier things to that, red and whatnot. But don't use the wrong fluid. So, I've got 7 litres of the Liquid Moly ATF, which is, this one is the Top Tech 1800. Supposedly really good stuff, so I haven't cheaped out too much on that. Obviously, one up from this is buying the genuine ZF fluid, which I would recommend, of course, but I didn't go that far. And I have got a genuine ZF filter, because the filters on these boxes are the Sumps as well, so you change the whole Sump and filter with new bolts. There is plenty of aftermarket options available, but for the price, I went with a genuine one just because I want to look after this car. And again, I've got no history on it. So, that's enough of me rambling on. Let's crack on with it. So the first thing we need to do is warm up the engine and warm up the fluid in the gearbox. These 8-speed transmissions have a thermostat in the oil cooler. So if you get a mega flush nut, that has to be up to 80 degrees to open in order to get the fluid to circulate through the system properly. All I want to do in a minute is get the fluid flowing and get it all warm, so that when I drain it out, I drain as much dirt, and it's just easy to drain out when it's warm. So I'm going to warm the car up a minute, and I'm going to get the car raised up as high as I can. I'm going to try it on the ramps. If I can't, I'll be driving onto little ramps on the floor and raising the suspension, but we'll see how it goes in a second. So in our service kit, we've got our 7 litres of oil. The genuine ZF kit comes with this really nice instruction manual, which tells you the filling procedure and Torx, which is great. Genuine sump, and then new bolts. So we've got new Torx 40 bolts for the sump, and the sump plug, which is a H8 hex. And then under the car here, what we need is to drop this guard, which is held on with 10 mils. So we'll do that in a second. And then we've got this little cage underneath this guard, which holds the guard on, and clips on these cables here. So you've got an 8mm on this, or 2 8mm this side, and 2 8mm on this side to undo, and then this cage will pop down. And just like the other Range Rovers, the ZF8HP, our fill plug is right there with another H8 fill port. So the first thing we need to do is we must crack it off and make sure it's loose, because if we can't fill transmission up, it would be silly us draining it. There you go. Perfect. So we can grab our oil pan, put it badly under the sump, like so. And we can crack off the drain plug, which on this one is a H10 hex bit. Oh. Well, it's actually tight anyway. That fluid actually looks quite clean. Yeah, maybe not. Right, so it's mostly oil drained, so we'll pop the drain plug back in a second to stop it leaking everywhere. And now we're tasked with removing all the T40 screws around the sump pan. So I'll crack on with that in a moment. There we have it, that's the sump pan dropped. So this here is our mechatronic unit with all the valve bodies in it. Nice pretty machine, but in there, that looks pretty tidy. There's no seal left in there for the filter, nope. So that's that. And then coming out here, we've got our old fluid, which, from what I can work out, doesn't appear to be green. So I think someone's used the wrong fluid. It does look like the golden ZF fluid, although a bit dirty. And it doesn't smell horrific, it's not heavily burnt. This is the filter, so it's got a genuine ZF filter on it. I'm sure this can't be original. But I can't see any date codes on it either. Unless they're in there. Nope. Yeah, but it is a genuine ZF filter at least. Just no date codes that I can understand. Just a shame. The little metal sludge catchers. They haven't got much debris on them. They've got some, but I don't know how long that's been in there for. So I'm not too concerned about that. So let you know, it is the reversal of what we've just done. This new filter appears to be slightly different in the sense that instead of having metal catchers here and here, it's got 3 this end, not 4 for some reason, which is very odd. But other than that, they are identical. That's our filter port. That's our right in. So they've updated the design a smidge during this. But other than that, it's the same thing. This one here has got date codes, but I can't quite understand them. So yeah, reversal now, very similar. We need to clean up inside there, clean up the mating face. This system here is really easy. It uses an O-ring around here, which is fantastic. All you have to do is put a smidge of new oil on the O-ring, gently bolt it up, and then torque it up in a correct pattern to a spec, and that's it. Obviously we must remove this one here, and put a bit of oil around this O-ring as a extra fail-safe there. So I'm going to pop this one back on now, really simple, and put it all back together as was. Okay, we'll get a smidge of oil, pop it in the pan. Now this stuff also appears not to be green in colour, so maybe what was in there was actually the right stuff and not all of it is dyed, but it is the right stuff. We're going to put a smidge of oil on the O-ring and on the seal for the filter. We don't want any seals getting caught and damaged. Really easy design though. Really easy design. Okay. Let's pop it up. Ensure that the filter goes in snug. Like that. run in all the bolts. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and get all the bolts caught now and run them in, ready to torque up in a moment. To tighten the bolts, you'll need a torque wrench set at 10 Newton meters, and you have to start from centre or the ends and work crosswise. So I'll upload a picture of the sequence now, and all you have to do is tighten crosswise 10 Newton meters. I like to go around twice out of a precaution, but yeah, we'll get these tightened up and then we can start filling up with fluid. Alright, so all the bolts in, torqued up to spec in the correct order. Now we're going to put in about 4 to 5 litres of oil through the fill port, back up in there until it starts flowing out, and then we'll run the engine, top up again and get it down off the ramp. Car's down on the ground, engine's running. Now ZF gives you a nice little instruction sheet here what to do once you're filling it up. So basically, if the engine oil's between, the gearbox oil's between 30 and 50, which is currently 35, run the engine at 2 grand for 30 seconds to fill the torque converter, and then once it's idling, good again, drop down and basically put your foot, well, put your foot on the brake, select park, then hold that for 10 seconds, do the same for reverse, and then go through first and second gears and hold them for about 10 seconds a gear. If the oil temperature is still good, then we can go down and we can run through the other gears, and then providing we're still within 30 to 50 degrees, we can check the oil level and see where it's at. Right, just been out on a test drive, run it through all the gears, got it up to temperature, and now we'll let it drop back down to 50 degrees so that we can check the fluid level. You don't want it below 30 degrees or above 50 degrees really to be checking the level. So I'm going to fire them up a minute. It's fine to stay in park. Need to check there's no leaks on the pan now it's been for a drive, and then from this fill plug at the top we just want to crack it off again and check that it's not leaking, or if it's not, we need to fill it up until it starts leaking out the plug. Once that's doing that, we are at a perfect level, and then I can chuck these covers back on and be done with it. That's the under trays all back on there, so she's all back together. Undone the filler plug at 50 degrees and I had some fluid come back out, so obviously it's a bit overfilled. Better overfill than underfill, but it's now at the correct level, so I can drop them back down and that's job done. Right, well that's a complete success. ZF8HP now, serviced, working proper. Obviously there's plenty more of this content on the channel already, so if you've got a 6 HP and the gearbox has failed, very similar process to the 8 HP, I can imagine, to remove, so you can watch that video if you've got further issues. If that hasn't solved it, then that's definitely worth a watch because you've obviously got internal gearbox issues. But really simple process. Stick around for plenty more content. So I've got mods, I've got preventative maintenance, and all that already on the channel, and plenty more coming on this one because I was stupid enough to buy another cheap Range Rover. So yeah, it's my problem, but hopefully it's your guys' game. I've been Jordan. See you next time. Cheers.